Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week market forecast covering from the November 3rd to November 7th. And let's start from the fundamental outlook and see the opportunities we have in the market. On Monday 3rd, we have high impact news covering from the CHF to US dollar and Canadian dollar, which is 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Nigerian time. On Tuesday, we have the cash rate, RBA monetary on AUD. We have the US dollar and NZD coming up later in the day, and that's 10:45 p.m. Nigerian time. And on Wednesday, November 5th, we have the US dollar coming up on high impact news, ADP non-farm employment change, and ISM service PMI. On Thursday, we have Great Britain pounds coming up and US dollar, which is tentative at 1:30 p.m. Nigerian time. On Friday, which is the last trading day of the week, we have high impact news covering up on two currencies. We have the Canadian dollar and the US dollar, where the 2:30 p.m. Nigerian time is for the Canadian dollar employment change, and the tentative one is on the US dollar average hour on the US dollar. So let's watch out for this outlook on the fundamental outlook for the week. And quickly, let's go into the market insights for the technical analysis. Starting from the dollar index, what is the market showing for this week? Let's start with the weekly time frame outlook and let's see what we have. Of course, as we have this outlook before now, that the market is right there at a level where we should be expecting more demand zone on the monthly time frame analysis. We have the weekly insight that the market is still more of a bullish momentum, and of that, we're expecting this high to be taken out in the market. And when that happens, we can expect a little bit of sell momentum. But currently, this remains bullish in my own opinion, based on what the market is showing right here, as you can see. And of daily time frame, of course, let's move to daily time frame and see what we have there. On the daily, we have a sensitive zone where we can be expecting more sell momentum. What does that mean? At this level right here, we are looking at this as a zone where the market might actually reverse a little bit. And with that outlook, therefore, that means for this week, we may have few days of the week to see the retracement in the dollar momentum, as you can see right here. So basically, I may be looking at more bearish momentum or a loss in strength on the dollar side for this week going forward. That being said, that is on the daily time frame perspective. On the 4 hours, let's see what we have on the 4 hour time frame. We have something similar to that right here. As you can see, we have already the bullish, bearish engulfing candlestick formation pattern within the zone on the 4 hour time frame for last week. And with that outlook, therefore, it means we may be looking at how the markets will move back into a price range like this, where we have a fair value gap zone. This could be the first point of interest before the price gets in here. But basically, we'll be expecting the price to, regardless, move downward to a price level like 99.185 before I have more insight on this. So far so well. This is what I'm looking at on the DXY. Let's throw with caution. And quickly, let's move into the Euro US dollar, and on the weekly time frame analysis, let's see what we have. On the weekly time frame, we have a sell momentum, a beautiful one for the week. Last week, we projected it was going to sell, and it's actually sold, and the sell was more than 100 pips on average, which is a very good one for the community. And for this week, therefore, what exactly are we looking at? This is still looking so much bearish on the weekly time frame perspective. And let's further see what we have on the daily. On the daily, it also looks so much bearish because we have significant bearish candle on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which took out the entire liquidity zone that we have right here. And if you look at this closely, you will realize that the closing price of this week at 1.1546 has been taken out significantly on the last trading day of the week. With that outlook, therefore, it means the targets we had when I said you should be expecting this for your Christmas money right here could actually be a zone that we should also consider now. And of course, let's see what that means on the lower time frame perspective, like 4 hour time frame perspective. Since we've taken out this low, what is that we're still looking at? A little bit of buy before more sell momentum. Of course, that's what that means. Because if dollar will lose strength, that means we can actually be expecting Euro US dollar to buy. So of course, let's go to the lower time frame, like the 4 hour time frame, and see more insight in what that means. So quickly, I'm going to take out this previous low to avoid confusion on the chart. And of course, I think I should remove this one a little bit, something like this. I think I should do this like this. All right. So we are clear. We are not confused on the chart. So I think this is way better. Now, this is what I'm having on the 4 hour time frame perspective. Very easy, very easy. Not trying to push the market. Just looking at how the market will do a bit of retracement into a zone. So this level could be a very nice zone where we can be expecting market to buy into going forward. And that zone to where the current market price is will give us about how many pips in total? It will give about 60 pips in total, which means we can be expecting bullish momentum on the dollar, on the Euro USD rather, into this level and then we have the retracement going forward like we've already projected. So there's nothing really much here, and this is my outlook on the USD. Euro USD for the week. So let's trade that also with caution. And going to the Great 10 pounds US dollar on the weekly time frame perspective, you can see that we have a fantastic sell momentum. We took out the previous level and rejected that same zone equally. That means this is looking tricky. And right there, we can have the momentum that has bounced 3 times currently. But this last week was a very strong bearish momentum, which we also projected ahead of time. And the market eventually did over 200 pips in the bearish direction, like we analyzed in the last session. So the last forecast for last week was a very good one because we made a lot of money, a lot of pips in the market based on what we saw. But that's not the good point. The good point is everyone learns from the community and everyone moves forward. And let's do that again and again. So currently, what are we looking at in the market? More bearish momentum, of course, and we can see a zone where the market may likely be retracing into. But let's see more insight on that on the daily time frame. Like I said, this looks trickish, and of course, it's looking bearish on the weekly time frame perspective. So on the daily, therefore, with this suggestion we have, which is a rejection that closed above the previous low that was taken out, then we can be looking at how the price will actually mitigate into a level before we have a good sell opportunity again. So where am I looking at on the daily time frame perspective? Now on the daily, I will be looking at a price level like this, which the threshold will be around 1.3232. And looking at that perspective, therefore, it means we can analyze the market and do something like this and just expect the market to move this way. So basically, this is me on the daily time frame perspective. I'm just reacting to what the price is showing, nothing more, nothing else. On the 4-hour time frame perspective, how am I seeing this opportunity? Well, this would be the first point of interest on the 4-hour time frame perspective. But if I go ahead to analyze what the price is showing right now, that means I will have another point of interest, of course, in the market, whereby I can be looking at how the price will react to this zone like this. And that's the current market price we give about how many pips in total? This will give about 212 pips in total because this is also a very good supply level in the market. And I'm not just going to focus on that. I will also consider this level, which is the first entry zone, which I'm having. I would name this the first point of interest, which is the POI1. And then I would name this the second point of interest, which is the POI2. So basically, this is what I'm looking at in the market. I will just keep it real and let's do what we can while the market still moves. So trade with caution, and it's going to be a fantastic week ahead of everybody. So let me look this on 1 hour time frame perspective. Let's see on 1 hour time frame. It looks good here. This guy looks good on 1 hour time frame as well because we're already having a bullish momentum. The energy is rallying up gradually. And of course, as with what you see here, it means the latest high we had, the previous high we had will be attacked. And that will be about how many pips? About 17 pips, which is nothing in the market. In fact, the market can open with a gap to cover that, to close above that. So above this level is where I'm expecting the price to get into. So this level securing this high. And if I want to really do that, that means I'm going to be targeting this zone right here. So which also it sync with the previous level we had on the 4-hour time frame, which is the first PO high that we had here. All right. So basically, where do I get this from? I think this should be from the daily, right? This is the daily time frame fair value gap, and this is it here. So this is why I'm looking at this zone. If you look at this way, this is why I'm looking at this one, but it's not much to the current market price. It's about 78 pips, which is also reasonable because what we're expecting on the Euro US dollar is not much like that. It's around that equal level. So we can also look at this and looking at the market from this perspective, we keep us safe. And that also means we can make more money. And let's go forward to the next one. We have a lot to talk about. Now, Great AUD US dollar, I'll start from the weekly time frame perspective. What's this guy doing? Nonsense, absolute nonsense, because the price is just ranging, wasting time, which we've seen ahead of time. But we're not considering saying all of that because, of course, we've saw it ahead of time. We're not surprised. We're enjoying the market movements. You take what we can take and we move on. So nothing is here. Nothing is here. The market is so trickish. And then going to the daily time frame perspective, as you can see on the daily, the market is a bit choppy and we have a bullish momentum creating a gap at the opening of the market for last week, which is there. Can you see that? And of course, on the daily time frame perspective, we had a fantastic rejection candles. We have bearish momentum in wicks and more tussle between the bulls and the bears in the market, but ended from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, ended as bearish energy in the market. So going to 4-hour time frame perspective, where we have most of our insight on the 4-hour time frame perspective. At the last week market session, I told you that the analysis we had for the week is to see the price moving from this price level and buying into this price range before we have a sell. And market open with a gap, it never filled the gap, and then it moved about how many pips? 100 pips on average into that zone. In fact, it was a little to get to the stop loss level, which was here, as you can see, just like 2 pips thereabouts to the stop loss, but the market's saved and well, everything is here. The market actually sold. So the whole thing now is we're looking at the market from different perspectives. As you can see, the market, which I analyzed before, has always been to see a sell momentum to the price gets here. And for this week going forward, I'll be looking at the market, taking out this entire gap here to fill the gap. So filling the gap means that we'll be expecting more sell momentum on the AUD US dollar before it gets to buy. And possibly the price could just do something like this, which I am not sure yet. It could just do something like this and continue buying, or I'm not just sure. I'm not just sure. So it is just what it is right now. Probably have a sell, but then my bias here remains the same, which I'm expecting the price to actually still fill up a little bit and we start selling off. And also, if possible, we can see the price doing, let me check the 1 hour time frame perspective because it's very tricky right there. So we can also have a momentum right here where we have the entire zone being taken out. So I mean, looking at this, looking at something like this, looking at the markets creating something like this right here. Okay, looking at the price, creating something like this right here, we can actually still see a buy that we take the price into the zone and then we can pull out from there. So which means from that zone to where the market is around how many pips in total? It's around 65 pips in total. So that's related a little bit with EURUSD and GBPUSD. And to be sincere, to be honest, this guy has not been doing anything great significantly in direction with EURUSD and GBPUSD over a month or a couple of months now. So this is really tricky. But it is 1 hour time frame perspective. This is what it looks like on the 1 hour time frame perspective. On the 4 hours, I will keep it a little bit simpler because I'm going to expect this level to fill up. Then we have something similar like this. Okay. We have this and we have this and we have this. So possibly this is also possible on the 4 hour time frame perspective. So let's just see how the market will react and then we know what to do with AUD US dollar. But ideally, we just want to follow the price, want to do what the price is saying, and of course be at peace with the market. So that is one thing that we should not take out of our trading plan. Be at peace with yourself and be at peace with the market. So basically, this is what I'm looking at, expecting the price to continue selling, to take out this entire zone here and price gets in here. And when price does, then I want to see more beautiful movement to the upside from this price level right here. So it's still very much valid. And then let's go to the next one we have. On this one particularly, we got this is I'm coming. This is I want to check out the next currency pair. Okay, NZDUSD. If you check NZDUSD, this also moved the way we analyzed it for last week. Last week, the price was here, which I analyzed that it would be seen a buy, and the buy did about 50 something pips into the range before we start seeing the sell. This was a very good trade because the market sold over 80 something pips in the market. So 50 something pips for the buy, 80 something pips for the sell, which was fantastic. So that was last week. We won and smashed this one too. On the weekly time frame perspective, let's see what we have currently. My outlook has been a sell on this guy for a while because this is the outlook in the market. Technically, I'm still looking for a sell momentum, but then let's keep it simple on the daily time frame and see more insight we have there. All right. So taking out this level, I won't take it out just now. On the daily time frame perspective, this is the low level I'm expecting the price to get into to see reaction. The upper level, we've seen the reaction. It's been selling from there since last week till now. It has done about 90 something pips in total, which is a fantastic one. The zones was getting on the 4 hour time frame perspective, and this is how it looks like on the 4 hours. As you can see, this was the level we are there. You see that's as the order block level, taking out the previous low level, and since then the previous high was protected. The market has not been there. Of course, the market went in the air, and of course, it took out the entire liquidity at a threshold with a bearish engulfing momentum with retracement went back into the range and smashed it down. So currently I'll be looking for where we have the next demand zone, the demand level, which is at this price level right here at 0.5689. So I'm expecting the price to still drop further before we have further insight on this. So currently I expect that to happen, and below that is another zone where I have here, which also is a very good spot for me to look for a sell or for a buy in the future, as you can see right here. So everything is here, nothing is hidden. Check out the previous market outlook and see my insight and see my thought process, analyze the market and how we relate the price with what we're looking at on the fundamental perspective. All right, quickly, let's go to the next guy, which is the USD card right there. On the USD card, starting with the weekly market outlook, this looks bullish, of course, on the weekly time frame perspective, because the target I have here is to see the price get into this level at least 1.4296 thereabouts. Let me see that again. 1.4292, yeah. And currently the price is sitting on 1.4010, which means that if you check that carefully, you realize that the price is having about 283 pips on average to get into the zone we're expecting. So which means we're still expecting more bullish momentum right here. And of course, if we're going to expect more bullish momentum, it means DXY must be buying for us to have that. And currently, DXY, we're looking at a sell momentum for this week. So what are we expecting on daily on the USD card? Checking out the daily time frame perspective, it's quite simple right there too. As you can see, the price rejected a level, take out the liquidity below this low, created a bullish engulfing candle right there. Then the following day to confirm more bullish engulfing, right? And with that outlook, therefore, what does that mean? We'll be looking at more bullish energy right here. And of course, there's something that we can still see in the market, which is very, very common. But is a low probability right now, though. Would have been looking at how the price comes back into this fair value gap before we have this. Why? Because the price did not take out the previous high. Rather, we have a continuous trend into the lower highs creation. And that is not just a failure swing. It means we can look at the market from different perspectives. So that's what we'll be doing now. And let's look at that on the 4-hour time frame perspective and see the insight carefully. Right here, this is the market outlook on the bigger picture on the 4-hour time frame perspective for USD CAD. And then we have this momentum going up right here. And we've seen everything the market has done before now. And now we have two bearish candles that closed the week where we can see. And what are we looking at exactly? Well, not really interesting here than to see a sell momentum. I'll be looking at this level, which is here, This is the fair value gap zone for the bulls in the market. And as you can see, we have multiple touches which secure this zone completely. So that makes me really curious. That makes me curious a little bit to see how the price will get into that zone. And when it does, want to see that reaction from there and take out this entire liquidity above the current market price. So this is what I'll be looking at for the week on the USD card 4-hour time frame perspective. This is just me. Okay, you can do your analysis, but this is my personal opinion in the market. I'm expecting the price to move about how many pips in total? Let's say I'm trying 47 pips on average into this room before the price push out of this zone and start buying, and later on to create a balance and take out this high, which is also a target. And on the higher time frame perspective, look at where we're going. So basically, I'm looking for this to happen in the week, but then not entirely. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to play out and give us that buy strong momentum signal. And this is very, very accurate in my own opinion based on what the price is saying. But then let's leave the market to do the judge and let's do what we can do and we leave. But basically, this is what I'm looking at in the market. Okay. And on USDJPY, look at what we have on USDJPY on the 4-hour time. Okay, let's start with the weekly. On the weekly time frame perspective, we have always been on the buy zone, right? I told you last week that we'll be buying this guy off, and entire last week it was a buy momentum. Though at the beginning it sold a little, it sold about 190. That's more than a little, and of course it created more bullish momentum, which closed about 178 pips from the opening price to the closing price on the bullish direction, and then that was a very good one. But that's if you've not been hit on a stop loss. But I said it's on high time frame perspective on the weekly that I was looking for a buy, and I'm looking at it to take out this previous high, and that high level to the current market price is about 76 pips on average right now. So this remains a bullish momentum on the weekly time frame perspective. Now checking down the lower time frame perspective on the daily, let's see what we have in the market. And of course, let's say this is looking bullish again right here. It's looking really bullish. This level is expected to be protected all of these zones, do we have a supply zone here? No, it's really rough. This is really, really rough. And the only place we have a structure we can be looking at is right here, and the price is very close to it. So what can we be expecting for the week? Are we expecting more bullish momentum right here, just like that? Or we'll be looking at the price doing a creation of a sell momentum into that level? Since we're expecting the dollar to be weak for this week, what are we expecting right here? Is it to expect the price to smash this entire zone, or respect this fair value gap level before it buys off again to the future? So to the previous high, rather. So let's see, what are we expecting? This is not really so clear to me as well. I'm just looking at how the market will react with that. A little bit tricky. Of course, I'll tell you, it's a little bit tricky. So for me, this is what I'm looking at in the market on the 4-hour time frame perspective. USDJPY, just be expecting a sell into this range before a buy. And yes, that is it. That is it. That's all I have here. But I will follow up with this in the course of the week to further see reaction, how the markets will react with that zone. Okay. On the USDCHF, what are we expecting on USDCHF on the weekly time frame perspective? Let's see what we have. This looks bullish because we're looking at how the market has rejected the zone already on the weekly time frame perspective. Looking at the entire picture right here, can you see? We're looking at a bullish momentum, though it's been ranging for a while, but now last week gave a very good signal for a buy, and the momentum was huge. And as you can see in the market, it gave about how many pips? About 81 pips momentum for a buy. It's really slow anyways, but then this is the target right here. This high is almost there, which was also a target, but currently this would be the focus for the week. And how do we do that? We're expecting the price to do about 137 pips to get here. But currently for the week, are we expecting more sell momentum here based on the XY reaction? Let's check that on the daily time frame. On the daily, we have the market being a bullish one since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and currently it's sitting right here on 0.8045. And what are we still expecting to see on the USDCHF? Expecting a more bullish momentum. As you can see right here, no, I won't take it out. I will only adjust it. As you can see, I will only expect the price to get to this level, to this price range for the week based on bullish energy. And right there, we have different zones, different highs within this range liquidity. And of course, I'll be expecting the price to ultimately attack this zone right here for a bullish ride, which is about 131 pips. All of these are not really movement in the market, just that the price is not really moving well on the USDCHF in the recent time. So basically, I'm still expecting more of that in the market. On the 4-hour time frame perspective, let's see what we have on the 4 hours. We will be expecting a little bit of sell to buy on the 4 hours. So this was last week. I have this since last week. So in course of the week for last week, this was what I was expecting, and I told my students. So basically, I'm expecting this to happen. I'm expecting a bearish momentum into this range, then having a buy from there. So this is just my outlook on this on 4-hour time frame perspective. This is the bigger picture. You can take your time to check it out, analyze yours, compare, and let's see how the market unfold. All right, quickly, let's go to the Griffin Pounds. JPY, my time. No, this level secure. Okay, I said this at the beginning of the week. Last time I talked about it. What made this happen? Okay, but I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Okay, this one is looking like this. This is the Griffin Pounds, Griffin Pounds Canadian dollar. This was the level for last week. We said was going to sell off after the price opened with a buy. I still continue to say it was going to sell off, and it sold for more than 280 something pips eventually in the market, and over 300 pips. But to the level I was expecting, it was 200 and something. Can you see that? 268 pips. And with that now, it means that we were looking to sell this for last week, and it eventually sold massively. I think this was one of the best performed currency pair for last week. So it was a good one for us in the community. And right here, the buy that we had, if you wanted to buy from here, like I projected, it will have hit your stop loss long ago. But then we had a lot of ranges right here. So exactly what this price is saying. I'm looking at it from different direction now. I'm looking at how the price will create a bullish momentum into this range, and from here I can see how the price will start selling from there. So basically, on this 4-hour time frame perspective, I would just be looking for a bullish momentum that will give rise to a sell, because right there the price has really done that's done a massive momentum already for a sell direction. So we can be expecting this. This is just a point of interest, the first one. This would have been the second one, but I think I'll just leave it at this, and from there to the current market price, we give you about how many pips in total? 136 pips in total. So this is also a very good one. And congratulations for those that took the trade last week. All right. Great Pounds AUD. What do we have on it? For our time frame perspective, I'm not really going into the deep down here now. I want to close on time. I don't want to extend this. Okay. So this is on 4 time frame perspective. This is the zone. Last week I told you to also sell this. I did analysis and I projected a sell for the week on the last week. This was the last week. Open with a gap down. And of course, I said it again in the group in the community during the week that look forward to more sell. This sold for more than 400 pips. And currently I'm still expecting a little bit of sell into this range before I have a comfortable buy, high interest buy, or high potential buy. So currently that would be around 286 pips. But now we have the price ranging. Is it possible that we have the price doing otherwise before it starts selling? Of course, it's possible. Well, if that will be relatable to the Great Britain pounds Canadian dollar we just had now, that means at this price level, we can be expecting the price to buy into it like this, and then we have the sell, and later on we buy. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But let's see how the price let's see how the price reacts to that zone, and let's see the formation we have, and let's see how the price obviously take care of these things. So for the week, this is what I'll be expecting to see in the market, and it's an incredible time. If price chose to sell immediately from here right into this range, it will be a good one. We're going to buy from this range, and this is the price right here. That means we'll be buying from 1.9831, and then your stop loss will be at 1.9730, which is okay for me. And when you look at this, you see that this is about 1:9.6 risk reward ratio in the market, which is very, very fair. All right. So this is how I analyze the market, and this is how I project what I'm expecting to see in the market. We're not fighting with the market. We just want to take opportunity and take advantage. I'm not going to talk about this today. BTC US dollar for last week, it was right here, and where I was projecting it, I said I was expecting it to buy. This was it here. I was expecting it to buy to take out the liquidity above this high before it starts selling. And of course, the market did just that. Price went there to take out that high, and it sold. Can you see that? It retraced currently. It's doing all of that. So my bias remains the same on this one right here. I'm not doing anything with this. So let's just keep it simple as it is. And on gold, which is the last one for the week, let's see what we have here on the weekly time frame perspective. So, okay, first, let me just delete everything we have so we don't have to confuse each other. So right here, sorry. Gold expected to get into this range before it started selling for last week, but it didn't get here. But it went straight down to where we're expecting it to sell to buy from. So it bought from there and bought about 1,400 pips. Since then, it's been doing back and forth, and currently I'm just taking out the zones. I'm taking out the zones. I'm taking out everything right here. As you can see, I'm taking them out. And on daily time frame, let's start from the weekly. On the weekly time frame perspective, looking at gold currently, technically, it will be looking like we're going to see more bearish momentum. Even though there's no fantastic sell momentum, in my own opinion, like anything happens, gold pump again because it has not done any massive sell momentum for a very long time now. So if I'm looking at this on the weekly time frame perspective and it's giving this much of a bearish momentum, then I'll be cautioned. All right. And then that's just the truth, looking bearish on the weekly time frame perspective. Now, on the daily time frame perspective, what are we looking at? On the daily, we have different zones that we're looking at as demand, and I'll tell you something that has happened with that daily, with those zones before now. Okay, the first level we had as a demand zone on the daily time frame perspective, where we're expecting to see a bounce off on gold, was here, right here with this candle reference point. The price moved into it. I think that was on a Tuesday, okay, Wednesday of one of that week, and it moved out immediately. And of course, at that zone, I was expecting the price to get into this range here, which is a bearish fair value gap. It didn't. It didn't. It come down instead. Now, when it came down, the first thing I was expecting to see is the second level, which is the second demand zone level, which I marked before now as well for last week. Now, look at the price. The price came there on Tuesday. The moment the price tapped into that zone, it bounced off again. Now, if you're looking at that from that perspective, that means there's another level which we can be looking at to see a reaction on gold, as you can see. So if we are to follow this, are we expecting gold to still go here? And then we start buying again. I'm not sure. I don't know how that is going to react, but trust me, gold is on its leak right now, and I just want to avoid being trapped in the market. So on daily time frame perspective, this looks bullish for a reason, which I'll be sharing right now. So this is it here. If gold actually finds its way down, well, this looks good for a bullish momentum. Okay, this one looks good for a bullish momentum. It has tapped into this. It has tapped into this. So I'm not dealing with that now. And of course, what I'm looking at is to see more bullish momentum on gold now. Why? We have the liquidity being grabbed at almost equal zones right here with massive bearish momentum candle, taking out the previous low right here, price creating a rejection into this level. Now, what I can be looking at is different. Well, I can leave this one for now, but what I'm looking at here is different a little bit. I can expect the price to actually still come back into this range, right? I can expect the price to come back into this, since we're having a good bullish momentum for Thursday candle. So that means I can expect the level to be something like this, to create something like this, and then we know whether I want to sell or buy again. But before the price will get here, let's see the reaction. And from there to the current market price, we give about 1,800 pips. And basically, this is what I'm looking at. This is just a favorite gap zone too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm supposed to talk about gas. No. Brains. I promised somebody to check it out. I think I'll be doing that in course of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This is the market outlook for this week. Trade with proper risk management, and I believe you'll be fine. Have a wonderful trading week ahead of you, and God bless you.